Good afternoon. We will continue to study about the subordinating conjunction whose with the examples. We will study about the two examples to understand the application of the subordinating conjunction whose. The second example is this. I hear whose you like. The speaker states the sentence while setting the object of the transitive verb here as the subordinate clause whose you like. The speaker considers that the object of the transitive verb here is a specific object that belongs to a subject. And the speaker describes the object that belongs to a subject with the subordinate clause, with the subject, listeners, and the transitive verb like. According to the description of the subordinate clause, we can understand that the object that receives the definition of the transitive verb here from the speaker is also the object of the transitive verb like to receive the definition of the transitive verb like from the listeners in the subordinate clause. In the third example, whose you see is great. We can analyze that the subject of this main clause is the subordinate clause. The speaker said the subject of the be verb in the main clause is an object. This object belongs to a subject, and according to the description of the subordinate clause whose you see, we can see that the subject of the main clause is the object that belongs to the other subject, and this object receives the definition of the transitive verb see from the listeners according to the description. And the objective grade describes the subject as the subjective complement. Let's read the explanation one by one. The second example is this again. I hear whose you like. The speaker indicates the object that receives the definition of the transitive verb here from the speaker as the subject, with the subordinate clause whose you like, linked by the subordinating conjunction as a pronoun whose. The object indicated by the pronoun whose as a subordinating conjunction receives the definition of the transitive verb like from the listeners as the subject in the subordinate clause. The object indicated by the pronoun whose as a subordinating conjunction belongs to an unstated subject in the sentence. And as we studied, the pronoun whose as the interrogative clause, we can guess that the origin of the subordinate clause is an interrogative clause. Whose do you like? And the speaker does not have any inquisitive intent for the object that belongs to the subject in the interrogative clause. Whose do you like? So the speaker transforms the interrogative clause to the subordinate clause like this. Whose do you like? So we can guess that the main clause is something like I hear the object, or I hear his, or I hear hers, I hear theirs. Some possessive pronoun may be appropriate to be guessed. The speaker does not, because the two clauses, the subordinate clause and the main clause, are linked with the shared indication, we can guess that the speaker figures out that the object indicated by the interrogative pronoun whose do you like, whose, is the same object of the object of the main clause. I hear his, I hear hers, or something like that. The object and the object indicated by the pronoun whose is the shared indication, or the same indication. So the two clauses might be linked in this way. The speaker does not reveal the subject that the object indicated by the pronoun whose belongs to in the sentence, but only reveals the fact that the object indicated by the pronoun whose belongs to a subject. The first conference that we guessed something like I hear his or I hear hers, I hear theirs, something like that, is clarified in this way. I hear his preaching. The object of this clause is stated as a phrase, his preaching. The preaching belongs to a male who does not participate in this conversation. The speaker reveals that the range of the object indicated by the gerund preaching is determined because the description by the possessive determiner his reveals that the object indicated by the gerund preaching belongs to a male who does not participate in the conversation with the speaker. The second clause, that the pronoun whose is applied as the interrogative pronoun, is this: whose do you like? The speaker indicates the object to receive the definition of the transitive verb like from the listeners as the subject with the interrogative pronoun whose. The speaker applies the interrogative pronoun whose to reveal the intention to clarify the subject that the object indicated by the interrogative pronoun whose belongs to. This is a brief of the previous explanation. The speaker, the first conference, I hear his preaching. The second conference, whose do you like, is integrated into this sentence. I hear whose you like. The speaker applies the pronoun whose as a subordinating conjunction to link the subordinate clause to the main clause, because the object indicated by the phrase of the gerund his preaching corresponds with the object indicated by the interrogative pronoun whose. Thank you for watching.